But if I can only pick one of these two shoes, who am I going to go with? Well, I'm going to go with... In today's shoe comparison review, we've got a battle of the New Balance Super Trainers here. We've got the Balos up against the Super Comp Trainer V3. So we're going to go through their similarities, their differences and their key features, and hopefully from that, that's going to give you guys a great indication of choosing the right shoe for you. But before we get into it, a big shout out to my #1 running store, the Running Company at Geelong. I've got a link to their website in the description. Make sure you go check out that and check out all their running gear. And also guys, if you haven't done so already, make sure you hit that subscribe button. And with our specs, both neutral running shoes here by New Balance. Now what is really throwing me off is the price. So in the US, the Super Comp Trainer is a cheaper shoe over the Balos, but here in Australia, the Balos is the cheaper shoe. Who knows what is going on there? Now in the weight, a little bit of difference in the weight there. Can you feel that on the foot? Yes, you can. So the Balos does feel the lighter, more nimble shoe. Now in the sack weights there, it looks like it's a pretty significant difference. However, the geometry of the Balos really throws its stats off, just because I think where the measurements are red. But I'm in the thickest part of this shoe, I'm pretty sure it's got to be around 40 millimeters, just like the SC Trainer V3. And in your uppers, two different materials and two very different designs going on. So in the Balos, you've got a more of a traditional looking upper, however, it doesn't feel too traditional. The mesh that they're using is a creel mesh, so this mesh is really quite thick and robust. However, breathability is still pretty good. Really solid heel counter at the back. It feels like it's got a cup in it. Now we've got a really big plush pillow right on the back of the Achilles, which is really comfortable. But then we've got probably a medium amount of padding just around the heel collar there, and it's just around the heel collar, so it doesn't go down into the shoe at all. Now with our tongue, a stretch knit tongue, I absolutely love it. Really does a great job to hold the foot down. This stretch knit tongue is gusseted. The lockdown in this shoe is absolutely excellent, so you can't get really better, and that's all got to do with the general fit of the shoe. So overall, it's a really, this shoe has really low volume, and that has caused me to come up a half a size because I just feel too squished in and too hugged in, so had to come up a half size just to get that extra breathing room for my foot. The length is still okay on a half size up, and the width is fine as well. Build quality, pretty good here from New Balance, but the stepping comfort in this shoe is absolutely amazing. Now what the difference is here in the SC Trainer, so totally different designed upper. This one's far more accommodating, this upper. The material that they use here is the Phantom Fit. Now they use Phantom Fit on the other SC Elite model and also in the Rebel, but this one feels a lot more softer to the touch, and doesn't feel as plasticky as those other ones do. Breathability, so in this one is still excellent. We've got a solid heel counter here, but not as solid as the Balos, and we don't have a big puffy pillow on this shoe. It's just got probably, I'll probably say medium to a low amount of padding around the heel collar, but the padding in this shoe goes all the way down into the shoe, and it's quite nice, so very comfortable here. With our tongue, again, we've got a little bit of padding on the tongue, but it is a gusseted tongue, but it's not a stretch knit tongue. So it's more of a mesh type tongue, and that's obviously going to add to the breathability of the shoe. The lockdown in this shoe is still pretty good. It's not as hugged in and as tight as the Balos. The fit in general here is true to size, and this shoe is quite accommodating, so that you get a lot more volume in this shoe, especially through the toe box. So everything here is true to size, nice generous toe box, and the width is pretty good too. Build quality, excellent in this shoe. This shoe's got to be probably one of the most best looking shoes on the market. And stepping comfort of this shoe, again, is really great, just like the Balos. But overall in the uppers, if I've got to pick one of these, I certainly prefer the upper in the SC Trainer. And in the outsoles, as you can see, two very different concepts going on here. So with the Balos, so virtually no outsole rubber on the bottom of this shoe. The only rubber that they've got is right up on the toe area there and on the outside of the heel in the rear there. And lucky for me, they are my two high wear areas when I run for my running style. So thank you there, New Balance. On the rest of the bottom of the shoe there, they've got rubberized EVA in these off-green parts. So it sort of reminds me of a big lizard print or something like that, and it goes back down to the bottom. But yeah, they look like these really big pods. They're really soft to the touch as well, so much softer than just normal rubber that's on it. And the rest of it just is that exposed foam, which is really, really soft. So durability in this shoe is obviously going to be a little bit of concern because it's just so soft. So this rubberized EVA, it's getting scuffed up a little bit, but I don't think it's affecting performance at all. In the grip department, this shoe, as I said, really soft. These three elements combined provide great traction, but I haven't really given it a great test out on some really wet roads yet. So with our SC trainer here, so very familiar tread pattern on the bottom of this shoe. So this is the same design of what they've got in the Elite and also the Rebel. The rubber that they use is endurance rubber, so same type of rubber, and the tread pattern is really unique. There's these little diamonds all through it, and it provides great traction. So excellent in all conditions, this tread. And what we got here, good rubber coverage, pretty much the entirety of the forefoot there. And just in the high areas at the rear, we've got some exposed foam through the middle of there. And then we've got a really huge crevice through the middle of the shoe with our exposed carbon plate there. Now, in the grip department, as I said before, it's excellent. And in durability wise, it does wear down quick, this rubber, because it's more of a softer compound, but it's still, I think, going to hold up a lot longer than the Balos. So if I'm going to pick an outsole, or if I prefer an outsole between these two shoes, I'm going to go with the outsole of the trainer. And in the midsole, so we have got New Balance's Performance Foam, Fuel Cell, up against the more of the Daily Trainer foam is Fresh Foam X. However, there's a different twist here. So this is a tuned down version of the Fuel Cell. So they've taken, it's not pure PEBA like you're going to find in the Elite. It's just a PEBA blend. So a tuned down version of Fuel Cell. But what they've got here, they've put a PEBA in their Daily Trainer Fresh Foam, and this is a beefed up version of Fresh Foam X. So they've tuned this one up and tuned this one down, and it's really interesting to see how they perform. But what we're going to find with the Balos, we don't have a plate in this shoe, but just that Fresh Foam X with the PEBA blend. But it's still a pretty rigid shoe, as you can see there. A little bit of flex, but yeah, it's certainly not a super flexible shoe like the Rebel. Now, where this shoe comes into its own is the geometry. It sort of shares a similar geometry to the Mizuno Neo Vista. It's got a really aggressive heel bevel here, so really, or a rear foot rocker. And then it's got a really early stage rocker as well. So the fattest part of this shoe is right in the middle, and that provides a really unique, fun ride. Now with the SC trainer, this has got, so 2 layers of that tuned down PEBA blend fuel cell. So we've got a top layer, and then under that, they have got their Energy Arc carbon plate. And now this carbon plate has got ripples in it, so it makes this carbon plate really, really stiff. So as you can see there, this is a very, very stiff shoe, and this shoe certainly needs the carbon plate, which I'll go on to later. Then under the carbon plate, they've got their final layer of this fuel cell foam. And in the geometry, yes, we do have a 4-foot rocker here, but it's certainly in a different place of what you're going to find in the Balos. So this one is much more up towards the front of the shoe, very much so where you're going to find in the SC Elite V4. So this shoe pretty much mirrors that shoe, just a toned down version of that one. And in the ride, so both these two shoes are soft, but they're a different type of soft. So with the Balos, so the first word that comes to mind here is bouncy. So this has to be one of the most bounciest shoes I think that's ever been created. This foam is just amazing. So it is certainly so soft when you land, but it just throws you back out really, really fast. It's just really enjoyable. Yeah, so much energy return, so much pop. It's a bit wild and loose, and it's just what I like. It sort of reminds me of when the Nike Invincible come out, that first one, it was just all that Zoom X, and it was just so bouncy. Everyone's going, wow, this shoe is really amazing. It's really different. That's what I feel like in this shoe. But this shoe has just got that really unique geometry. As I said before, it's very similar to the Neo Vista. No matter where you run on this shoe, you always feel like you're on that rocker. So you're on this rocker, always leaning you forward, not too aggressively, but you're just bouncing on this rocker and just bouncing down the road. But yeah, so enjoyable. I know it's not going to be for everyone because it's far from a traditional ride, but yeah, so much fun. Now with the SC Trainer, so again, first word that comes to mind here, I'm going to say still soft, but yeah, a different soft. So is it bouncy? It's certainly bouncy, but it's nothing like the bounce of the Balos. So this is more of a lethargic bounce. So it's got great softness, especially through the heel. And then as you roll onto the shoe, it certainly firms up as you roll through your foot strike, and you sort of compress the foam and this plate and you start getting on the rocker. And then when you roll out, the decompression of this foam or the bounce out, I think I'd describe it as quite lethargic, or it's really slow, just a really slow compression. So you don't feel like you get a lot of energy return or a lot of pop, and it doesn't feel very responsive. Yeah, it just feels like it's just a cruiser. It really just takes the panning out of the road, rolls you nicely onto the rocker, and just a nice amount of pop as you come out, but nothing crazy. And there's this sensation in the ride of when I hit the ground that I feel like it fights where my foot wants to be on the road. I think when shoes feel a little bit more natural, when you roll down onto the foot strike, you can sort of control where the shoe goes and you can roll through. But this shoe sort of, when you land, it sort of wants to control where your foot goes on the road. I know that's a really weird explanation, but yeah, I think, yeah, just the guidance when it hits the road, it wants to guide me in a different direction of where my foot actually wants to go. So I don't feel as nimble. It feels like it just wants to lock me into a straight line, and let's just keep cruising on that line. So yeah, that's a bit of a weird explanation, but yeah, that's how I feel in the shoe. So both these two shoes cover off on the same types of run for me. However, obviously it's a different experience for each shoe. So both great for your easy days, both great for your recovery days. They're both really soft. They're just going to take all the panning out of the road and just let your legs tick along. They're both great for the long run as well, but it depends what you want out of your long run. Do you want a nice, safe long run, really comfortable long run, no pace in it? So I'd probably pick the SC Trainer. If you want a bit of spice and a bit of bounce into your long run, a bit of excitement, then definitely go the Balos. Now, if you had to do a workout in either of these two shoes, I probably wouldn't reach for either for a workout, but if I had to, I'll probably pick the Balos because it's just got more excitement. It's got that foam is just more bouncy, it's more exciting, and it doesn't feel as sort of clunky, or I won't say clunky, but it doesn't feel as lethargic as this shoe. And just wrapping up the shoe comparison between these two shoes, so what really stood out to me is just how differently these foams performed. So the turbocharged or the steroid injected fresh foam up against the tuned down fuel cell, so the performance foam. So yeah, there's certainly no match here in the foam. So this Fresh Foam X with the PIBA blend is far more exciting than the toned down version of the fuel cell. So I wonder if New Balance actually expected that to happen when they were playing around with these two formulations. But for me, yeah, if you didn't know anything about the foams, you would think that this is the performance shoe, certainly over this shoe. But yeah, very, very surprising result. So what I'd love to see though is this upper on the SC Trainer on top of the Balos, and this Balos shoe would be absolutely perfect. So yeah, I'd much prefer the upper of the SC Trainer and the outsole of the SC Trainer, but certainly much prefer the ride of the Balos and much prefer this foam. But if I can only pick one of these two shoes, who am I going to go with? Well, I'm going to go with the Balos. And that's just because the ride is just very, very exciting. It's a very unique shoe, and it's one of the most enjoyable rides on the market. But anyway, guys, that's it from me. Hope you liked that one. Any questions you've got regarding these two shoes, please just drop that in the comments. Thank you for watching. Make sure you give this video a like, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you next time.